Computer Alley today is brought to you by e-Learning Jamaica. E-learning is free learning. Welcome back, Technocrats. Today on Computer Alley, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, open source. What is open source? Now, the funny thing is, when you say open source, the first thing that comes to most people's mind is that it is software that you get free that you don't pay for. Well, unfortunately, I am here to burst your bubble today. So let's talk about open source. Open source is a group of license that covers the development of software, which says, one, if you create a particular software, you must make available to anyone who wants it the source code, which is the initial code which determines what the program does. So let me see if I can break that down for you. When you go to download something, usually especially in a Windows environment, you get what is called an exe, an executable file, and most persons who use Windows are accustomed to that. However, that exe that you download is not the source code. The exe is a result of doing a process called compiling the source code, and it generates an exe. If you wanted to change or add a function to that exe, you'd have to go back to the source code, type in the additional functions, and then recompile it to get a new exe. So what the open source license says, and when I say the open source license, what I want to point out is that there are a group of licenses. So with open source, what they say is that whenever you create a software, you are also required to distribute the source code so that anyone who wants to change it will have access to the source code to add to it, to change it, to review it, to check it for bugs, to check it for viruses, for malicious content, anything. The source code is distributed with it. None of the open source license says that you cannot charge for your software. It has driven what we refer to as the open source community to the point now where it is a significant challenger to commercial software. And there are numerous companies and softwares that you use every day, which are open source, and most people won't even realize it. There are also billion-dollar companies which operate using open source software. Would you like me to name some? Okay. Amazon, Facebook, Google, and that is just to name some of the few. As a matter of fact, Apple, the Mac OS, started out on open source software, which was BSD, Mozilla, a lot of the web development software like Drupal, you have WordPress. As a matter of fact, the New York Times, the Mashables, some of the most famous websites online that you check now are using open source software. Numerous other examples I could list. Open Health, which is entire healthcare applications that cover the gamut of monitoring the different health aspects. Open source. Microfinancing and loan deployment, open source. So now let's take a closer look at the licenses and what they exactly say. The four freedoms, as we like to call them. The freedom to use the software for whatever purpose you want, whether commercial or private. The freedom to modify the software for whatever needs you see fit. The freedom to redistribute changes that you have made to improve the software to the public. And the freedom to edit as you choose. Those are basically the four freedoms that run open source. And that is what is embodied in the license, of course, in a lot more words. Open source didn't start out yesterday or 10 years ago. Really and truly, open source has been around from way back. And there was this Finnish gentleman, I believe, Mr. Torvalds, Linus Torvalds, right? And he came up with this idea to start, and he wrote this program called Linux. And that was probably one of the defining moments or one of the driving factors why we're where we are today in terms of open source community. Open source software is pretty much free. The development of open source software comes from a community of developers. They don't charge, they do this because this is what they love. There is no thing to say that you can't donate, and usually that is what they say. If you like the software, donate, make a donation, it goes a long way. But they don't force you to pay. So the development, it is way less in terms of cost than commercial software. Usually what they might charge you for is support. So if you want additional support and expert advice, they might charge you for that. Additionally, open source software is generally more secure. When you have hundreds, thousands, millions of persons looking over the code of a particular software, they are more likely to find bugs, fix them more quickly. They are more likely to see if there's any malicious content, any loopholes, any inefficiencies within the code than if you have 10, 15, 20 persons trying to go through hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of lines of code to find bugs and loopholes. Because the code is made publicly available, all that is required to make changes or move the software further is for interested persons to take that source code, make additions, and continue the project. Last but not least, there is no complex licenses, no monthly licenses fee, no annual licenses fee. Again, you pretty much, for the most part, do not have to pay if you don't want to. As a matter of fact, what we have seen over the years is that the open source, or some facets of the open source community, has diverged and created what is called, when they create the software, they create what is called a community edition, and then they might have a commercial edition. Where there are a few things they might add in the commercial edition which is not in the community edition, but that doesn't stop anyone from creating that same piece of code and adding it to the community edition. Business go into business to make money. How do you make money from open source if you're giving away the software for free? It can be done, and it is being done and has been done. So there are companies like Red Hat. What they do is charge a subscription fee for additional services, mainly for support. Open source software is everywhere. Your microwave, your cell phone, your tablet, your TV, your car, your satellite dish. As a matter of fact, I think it might be easier to list the items that doesn't have open source software, because that would be a significantly shorter list. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get social. Do you think that the Jamaican government should follow the footsteps of other countries which have cut their expenditure by switching to open source software? Keep the conversation going on Facebook and Twitter at Total Technocrat. Computer Alley today is brought to you by eLearning Jamaica. E-learning is free learning.
Yo, my youth, if you want pass the CXC, well, here is a easy way. Go on YouTube and bust a one search and find e-learning JA. I tell you e-learning, that wanna make history. Study English, maths and chemistry. E-learning, free learning, so be learning with e-learning.
In a world run by ones and zeros, do you think you're ready to face the digital revolution? At GoMix Security Academy, we offer you the relevant knowledge you will need to survive the digital age. Our world-class instructors are certified in the courses they teach, which means you will be trained by the industry's best. GoMex is also a strategic partner with many internationally recognized names in computer training and security. So call us today and begin your journey to a brighter future at GoMex Security Academy, where relevant knowledge awaits you. The National Certification Body of Jamaica, in association with GOMIC Security Academy, presents the ISO 27001 Security Symposium. Come and learn about securing and protecting information at Knutsford Court Hotel, September 11, 2013, from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Registration costs $27,001. For more information, contact Miss Janet Johnson at 619-1131, extension 3443.
Students nowadays have it easier than when I was a little young studying for exams. Why? Because they have e-learning to help them with 11 different subjects like biology, physics, social studies. So check out eLearnJA at youtube.com. Remember, e-learning is F-R-E-E, free learning.
Welcome back, Technocrats. Today on the go, it would appear that I am in the middle of nowhere. But that brings us to today's topic, which is geotagging and location data. Now, even though it appears that I am in the middle of nowhere, I have my trusty mobile device. All mobile devices carries GPS or some form or method to track your data. Even your camera, your digital camera, will embed geotagging data, which is what we're talking about today. So even though it appears I am in the middle of nowhere, and folks, it's not appear, I am in the middle of nowhere, but I could send my exact location or pinpoint my exact location, my exact location on Facebook by sending a post or by taking a photo and sending it to somebody. Because what will happen, the application on my phone will embed the latitude and longitude. Yes, we're going back to geography class. The latitude and longitude, which pinpoints my exact location. So when I send this post, it will say that Dean made a post from his mobile device at such and such a location. Now that can be a good thing and a bad thing. So if I am lost, I have no clue where I am. First of all, the location data will tell me where I am. But if I am injured and unable to move and I need to get the message to someone, just by making that post or sending that photograph with the embedded information, they'll be able to find me. Now, what is the downside to that? Well, that's a tricky part. It also means that anybody who can use Google, do a little search, would be able to retrieve the location data from the post or from the picture, and they would be able to pinpoint exactly where I am as well. So if I were to take a picture at home, post it, or if I was to send that post from home and then it shows up on Facebook that Dean posted made this post from 2 Dunkirk Drive, then somebody right then and there has my exact location. Now if you're a person who's very active on Facebook or Twitter and it is constantly updating your location data, what happens is that I can create a pattern of your movements over a period of time. And this has actually been a very good tool for law enforcement to track the movements of persons to see where they frequent, those kind of things. But it also means that for a person with malicious intent, if they have just basic Google skills, they will be able to track where you have been, where you frequent, and be able to pinpoint addresses and locations which they may be able to find you. So that is where you need to look, and that is what is important. So there are options, however, to turn off that location data, to remove the tracking and turn it on at will. Now, the issue is that most persons don't even know where to find it.
Initiating satellite scan.
Dean McClarty here, reporting from Technocrats, live in Savannah, Lamar. Live in Savannah, Lamar. I have a question for you. You have a smartphone?
Yeah.
What kind of operating system your phone use?
Windows.
Windows 7? No. Mr. Cameraman, you can't get your bashment phone because yo, that bigger than me.
Yeah, sure, it's a
What kind of smartphone you carry?
A BB
BlackBerry.
650.
It's a BlackBerry.
Apparently this is a BlackBerry town because there seem to be quite a few Blackberries. Do you use your BlackBerry to take pictures?
Yes, I do.
Take a lot of pictures and post it on Facebook.
You take pictures with your smartphone
Yeah.
and you put them on Facebook.
Most definitely I do.
Sometime.
So what you do with the location data?
What location data?
You know that when you post on Facebook it tells where you are when you do it?
No, I did not.
Did not know that.
No, I didn't know.
Yes, like I know you go on some people's page and say, oh, they were at this specific place.
Yeah, man, and they even tell you type phone. Tell us it's a smartphone you use.
Oh, but this brother is a true technocrat. So when you take a picture of you and one girl and you put it on Facebook and your girl say, oh, that and you say, I'm a cousin. Right? You're not worried about that?
No, sir.
No, because I don't think most persons are interested in finding out where I'm at.
Your girl never yet call you and ask you, where you there? You say, I'm there. Down at Mobile, you know. At the same time, you make a post on Facebook. And it says, Sub Lamar. Right, so she never catch you yet and say, oh, come to
No, she not going to get in that so much detail with me.
Oh.
Me know that kind of person who tell lie, definitely tell lie. Only me tell you when me have to. You understand?
You look like you get Suppose you get a stalker.
I won't have a stalker because I don't go around and taking men's money and stuff like that. That's the only way you can have a stalker.
When I don't know, I always try to keep it clean so it shouldn't cause no bangarang.
But you know you can remove the data though.
Tell me that.
So let's get social. My question today is, what would you do if you were caught telling a lie? You saying you're somewhere when according to Facebook, you're somewhere else. Take it to Facebook and Twitter and continue the conversation.
In a world run by ones and zeros, do you think you're ready to face the digital revolution? At GOMIC Security Academy, we offer you the relevant knowledge you will need to survive the digital age. Our world-class instructors are certified in the courses they teach, which means you will be trained by the industry's best. GOMEX is also a strategic partner with many internationally recognized names in computer training and security. So call us today and begin your journey to a brighter future at GOMIC Security Academy, where relevant knowledge awaits you. The National Certification Body of Jamaica, in association with GOMIC Security Academy, presents the ISO 27001 Security Symposium. Come and learn about securing and protecting information at Knutsford Court Hotel, September 11, 2013, from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Registration costs $27,001. For more information, contact Miss Janet Johnson at 619-1131, extension 3443.
back, Technocrats. Now today in It Mad, we are going to do some preventative maintenance. We're going to be looking at auto diagnostic technology for motor vehicles. Now most of you would know it as auto scan. Somebody will say, okay, I'm going to get the car scan, bring the scan tool, hook it up. But what exactly does it do and how does it work? So a little history. Back in the 80s, thereabout, the EPA in the States, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, was a little worried about emissions from vehicles, so they came up with some standards, and that is how this diagnostic and auto scan got started. So what it required was manufacturers to monitor the emissions that were coming from the vehicle. Of course, as with most things, they start out one place and they end up another. So manufacturers realized that they had to put sensors in the vehicles to monitor these emissions. But then it occurred to them, we could also put sensors to monitor a whole mess of other things, which is what they did. So you have the ABS has a sensor, your oxygen intake has a sensor, pretty much everything has a sensor. What the scan is, it provides an interface to connect to that computer, onboard computer, to retrieve all of that information. So what does scanning your vehicle do for you? Well, for me, especially, or someone going to purchase a used car, and it could even be a new car, and since we, and I am including myself, aren't mechanics and may not know everything, it is a good idea to get someone who offers that service to come and scan the vehicle, because it will be able to indicate to you if there are issues with the vehicle which would not show up in a physical inspection, which is what is done most time when you go to purchase a vehicle. And you have had persons who complain that after they purchase a vehicle, there are all sorts of problems which they didn't notice at the point of inspection. What we're going to do is hand over to Mr. Devon Thompson from DIGIGAL, who provides a service of this nature. They do auto scanning, auto diagnostic. Mr. Thompson, take it away.
All vehicles since 1996 accommodate this technology where a computer device, a diagnostic scan tool can be connected to the vehicle and a code is then retrieved. After the code is retrieved, the technician will know exactly where the root cause of the problem is. An auto diagnostic scan is the most precise and efficient way to determine automotive malfunctions, even in the instance where there is not a specific symptom. Generally, when a vehicle comes into us, we first identify what year that vehicle is. If the vehicle is from X year to 1996, then that's a OBD1. If it's from 96 to present, it's OBD2. After identifying what year the vehicle is, then we would get a feedback from the customer in regards to what is happening. Is there a check light on your dashboard, or are you feeling a particular symptoms? Now after that is given to us from the customer, then we would connect our scan tool to the vehicle and then go through a diagnostic scan. The diagnostic scan basically covers the engine computer, the transmission computer, the SRS, the ABS, and for the new vehicles, body and other electrical functions of the vehicle. During a diagnostic scan, a code is retrieved from the vehicle's computer. This code can either point us directly to where the problem is, or it can give us a general area where we should check. A report can actually be created to be given to the customer. We can either email it to the customer, or we can give them a physical copy of all the check that was done and the result of those checks. Now, a diagnostic scan can run from a low of $2,500 to a high of $4,000. A diagnostic scan is very important. One, when you have a noticeable problem with your vehicle. 2, when there's a check light on your dashboard. And 3, when you're about to purchase a vehicle. For example, if you're about to purchase a vehicle, that vehicle might have issues or malfunctions that might not be readily noticeable. However, a diagnostic scan can reveal these problems. A simple example would be a malfunction in oxygen sensor, which will inevitably cause you to burn more fuel.
We'd like to thank Mr. Thompson for spending the time with us and helping us to understand how an auto-diagnostic scan can help you to save money. Now we're going to get social. Have you ever purchased a vehicle from a certified used car dealer and have problems developing shortly after which did not show up at the point of purchase? Take the conversation to Facebook and Twitter. Give us your feedback. Total Technocrats. Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the 5 wonderful young ladies in the Queen of Tech competition. Unfortunately, one had to remove themselves for personal reasons. But we want you to tell us now who you would like to see stand beside me for the remainder of Technocrats Season 1. So get your phones out, get your Lime phones, and start voting.